What's a brave warrior of the sea? Usopp is the cowardly sniper of the Straw Hat Pirates, and ever since his introduction he's always had one dream, to be a brave warrior of the sea. What is a brave warrior of the sea exactly? Well, early on in the Syrup Village arc, Usopp already claims to be one, and a pirate captain, as he tells stories to Kaya of his great adventures. When Kuro pulls up, he insults Usopp and his father Yasopp, who is a pirate in Shanks' crew, and it's here that we learn that Usopp has some daddy issues, as he proceeds to go in on Kuro and cold clock him. When Usopp talks to Luffy in the next chapter, Usopp tells Luffy that he couldn't let Kuro look down on his pride. In these scenes, we get a good glimpse of pretty much all the aspects of Usopp's character: a cowardly boy who cried wolf, that's ready to stand on what he believes in if someone attacks his pride or someone he cares about. But more on this a little later. If we skip ahead to the Little Garden arc, we're introduced to the giants of Elbaf through Dory and Broggy, the captains of the giant warrior pirates who've been dueling for over 100 years. Here Usopp explains that they each have a flag of pride in their hearts that they'd rather die than let fall, and that is what a true battle of pride between warriors looks like. This is what it means to be a brave warrior of the sea. Usopp's relationship with the giants. From this arc in Little Garden, Usopp starts to build a greater relationship with the giants of Elbaf. I've already kind of started talking about this with his relationship with Dory and Broggy, who he refers to as his masters, but when Usopp and Nami sit down with Broggy, he doesn't even know what a brave warrior of the sea is, but he tells Usopp what being a warrior of Elbaf means. Since the giants live long lives, they put an even greater emphasis on having an honorable death. So they live life making sure that their pride is never tarnished. And since the Straw Hats saved them from Baroque works and maintained their flag of pride, they do the same and use the Elbaf spear on the giant fish that jumps out in front of the Straw Hat ship. In the Enies Lobby arc, we're introduced to two more giants named Oimo and Kashi. Oimo explains to Usopp that they were part of the giant warrior pirates, and that 100 years ago, their captains left for a duel and never came back. So 50 years ago, they set off looking for them. They found out from the Marines that their captains had been captured, and unless they guarded that gate at Enies Lobby for 100 years, they would never be released. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, this is because we literally just finished talking about their captains. Usopp lets Oimo know that the government has been capping, because he literally just met Dory and Broggy. As you can imagine, they were pretty pissed off and switched sides on the Marines. People are pretty shocked that they're following Usopp at all, and they're actually a huge help in this arc too, as they help transport pretty much all of the allies during the Buster Call, guard the gate that would lead to the Tower of Justice, and even give Usopp a lift so he can take this iconic pose with the rest of the Straw Hats, even though he had just left the crew. Also, in the post-Enies Lobby arc, they even offer to take Usopp with them to Elbaf, since he's not a Straw Hat pirate anymore. If you want to see a video on what would have happened if Usopp never rejoined the Straw Hats, like the video and let me know down in the comment section down below. Lastly, we have the giant Hajrudin from Dressrosa. Now, Hajrudin honestly has a lot more moments pertaining to Luffy in this arc, but when Usopp is able to get everyone turned back into humans from toys, Hajrudin does hold them up to the heavens, as everyone cheers on the pirate, God Usopp, which was a pretty epic moment. The other main moment is at the very end of the arc, when he's talking about creating the new giant warrior pirates, and Usopp is just happy to potentially go to Elbaf one day, while he's already a brave warrior of the sea. Believe it or not, Usopp has proven many times already why he's a brave warrior of the sea. So let's go over some of those moments before I get into some theories in the next two parts. Right at the beginning, even though Usopp was clearly outmatched against Kuro and Django, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Usopp is going to do what needs to be done to protect the people that he cares about. And he stands up to Django and is able to save Kaya because of it. In Arlong Park, he has to go up against Chu, a fishman who's 10 times stronger than the average human. And Usopp doubts himself and is full of fear, but I think that's the point. Because how can you truly be brave without first having fear? It's overcoming that fear which makes you truly brave. And even though Chu is way stronger than him, Usopp is still able to take him down, because he knows if he doesn't take him out here and now, his friends would be the ones that would be in danger. In Alabasta, Usopp's afraid, but he still puts in some great work against Mr. 4. He might get beat down, but When Mr. Four and Miss Groundhog's Day laugh at Luffy becoming the Pirate King, Usopp's pride in protecting his friends has him get right back up. When Luffy gets sent flying off the Arc Maxim in Skypiea, and NL is about to kill Nami, Usopp shoots him and saves her. Is he scared before, during, and after he does this brave stuff? Yeah. But the fear doesn't matter when the stakes are at their highest. In the Water 7 saga, when Usopp gets beaten up by the Frankie family and they steal all the Straw Hats' gold, his pride won't even allow him to face them, which leads to one of the most badass Usopp moments in the entire series, when he pulls up on Frankie House and demands they give the money back on his Rihanna, "Bitch better have my money." I mean, the ending result is sadly this, but he tried real hard to not have that pride tarnished. The biggest example of Usopp standing 10 toes down on what he believes in is definitely the fight he has with Luffy, where even though Usopp is wrong and strong, he wanted to keep his pride in the Merry and his own usefulness within the crew. Usopp had been like the pseudo shipwright up until that point, and with the Merry being replaced and the crew adding an actual shipwright, he felt like he wouldn't be useful on the crew anymore. It was this same pride that wouldn't allow him to rejoin the Straw Hats even though they needed to save Nico Robin, so he created an alter ego, Soge King. But as Sanji tells him when he saves him from Jabra, it's Usopp's job to do what the others can't. So when Spandam is really going in on Robin, on the Bridge of Justice or whatever, Usopp lights his ass up. And I think that this also rings true for the moment that Usopp burns the flag of the world government, because I don't know what's braver than declaring war on the government. But right after he lights up Spandam, he challenges Rob Lucci, which is very brave, if not bold, seeing as this is what he's got Luffy looking like right now. Now obviously he wasn't really planning on fighting Lucci, but his words gave Luffy that last little boost that he needed. In Dressrosa, after Robin is turned into a toy, Usopp is about this close to dipping on the Tontatas, who damn near worship him. But when Leo goes super hard standing up for Usopp's pride, Usopp can't help but stand up to Treble and Sugar, even if this is the result. Sugar tries to feed him the Tabasco ball meant for her, and that just backfires on her. The Elbaf Arc. The Egghead Island arc is coming to a conclusion soon, and it looks like Elbaf may be the next one on the horizon. It's clear that this will be a pivotal arc for Usopp's character for a couple of reasons. One, he has the connections to the Giants, which I mentioned in part 2. Early in the Egghead arc, we get a look at Elbaf and see that the Giants that he knows very well will already be there. So I think that he will be a central figure to the overarching plot of this arc. And 2, with Elbaf being Shanks' territory and his crew frequenting there, I think that it will finally be time for Usopp to meet his father. Now, we saw just last arc in Wano that Yasopp said he wasn't ready to meet Usopp, but I think that may be due to his own embarrassment more than anything else, seeing as he did leave for the seas and Usopp's mother died while he was away, so she never even got to see him again. Even though it seems like Shanks' crew was in the East Blue often enough during Luffy's childhood, so... But the same way Luffy will have to prove to Shanks that he's become a great pirate, Usopp will have to prove he's become a brave warrior of the sea. The fate of a brave warrior of the sea. Looking beyond the Elbaf arc, I'm going to predict how Usopp's story ultimately ends. For this, we're going to have to take a look back at what Master Bronchi said at the beginning of the video. The pride of Elbaf's warriors is to live for an honorable death. So honestly, I think Usopp's gonna die, guys. Now, that won't be all that happens if that does happen, because Usopp is also gonna have a book named after him, detailing his story that will carry on his legend. Okay, let me elaborate a little bit. Back in the beginning of the Arlong Park arc, Usopp on a sailboat with Johnny and Zoro has a one-off line mentioning the adventure about to unfold being titled The Warrior Usopp's Great Adventure, which the chapter is also titled. I think this will be the name of the book, detailing the legendary tales of Usopp as a brave warrior of the sea. There's a character in One Piece that actually already has something very similar. That's Mont Blanc Noland. In the Jaya arc, we find out about Mont Blanc Noland through a picture book that Nami and Usopp find. In this book, it details Noland telling tales of a city of gold in Jaya. We find out during the actual Noland flashback in Skypiea that he did actually see the city of gold, Shandora, and meet the Shandians 400 years ago. But when he went to travel back, part of the island was gone, which it turns out it was shot up into the sky by the Knockup stream. Even so, he's named Noland the Liar, and we already know that's all Usopp does. But in the story, and maybe in real life, Noland was sentenced to death for lying to his king, which may foreshadow a death that may come to the lying hero with a story about him. However, the comparison doesn't end there, as in the Dressrosa arc, the Tontatas actually believed Noland was a legendary hero of their ancestors from 400 years ago, in that he came and saved them from some quote-unquote bad humans that were trying to hunt them down. Usopp becomes their new hero and even claims to be a descendant of Mont Blanc Noland, which I think might actually come true by the end of the story. But either way, when Usopp is about to abandon the Tontatas when Treble captures them, he has another one-off line talking about how he'll have a book made about them, and even has the title, The Honest Tontatas. Now there are plenty of reasons for Usopp not to die, like recently on Wano he told Kinemon and Kiku that the culture of throwing their lives away was dumb and how he clings to life at every chance, or the fact that he has his friends and Kaya waiting back for him in the East Blue. If Usopp were to die, there's a lot of Straw Hats that he has a strong connection with, but narratively speaking, I feel like it would only work if he sacrificed himself for Luffy, because so many of the moments where Usopp does step up, Luffy's involved, and that's ultimately his best friend. But this makes it even harder for me to fathom just because there's no one that Luffy can't box at this point, let alone someone that Usopp could that he couldn't. It doesn't necessarily mean that Usopp would have to beat someone strong, but maybe just give Luffy an opportunity. Either way, if this were to happen, I'm sure Oda would find a good way to make it work. Now definitely give me your thoughts on this video. I'd really like to hear some of your opinions on the points I made here. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you like the video. And if you want to know what the most underrated power in One Piece is, it's not Haki or a Double Fruit, check out the video that'll be on the screen.